week. Of course, when you pass by the streets of Kampala, you realize all streets are painted red, and of course very many people are expectant. So Wednesday will determine whether you get a flower or a gift or anything. And someone said witches will be posting memes on Valentine. I disowned that that message. That was a meme on someone's status. But this is a love month, so it is important that we show those people who really matter in our lives love. They could be your parents, your neighbors, your friends, anybody. Show them some love. Don't wait for them to die and then you appreciate them. Yeah, express the love when they're still alive. Here we are with our Monday edition of the Family Hour. Edwin Austin Mukalazi is my name, and today we are looking at another pertinent issue that is also causing a lot of mess in the community. We are looking at the role of digital tools. We know that in 2020, before the COVID-19 lockdown, the Ministry of Education and Sports, specifically with the National Curriculum Development Center, rolled out the new lower secondary school curriculum, and I think the people who were in senior 1 then are in senior 4 currently. But one of the key things that were part of this curriculum is now ICT integration. We came to realize that at least every subject now required the integration of ICT skills into that particular subject. Is it mathematics? Is it science, biology, physics? Is it English? And very many other subjects. Now, the issue is here. Very many parents now opted to buy for their children digital tools like phones, laptops, iPads, and very many other things that you gave them because they really needed the integration, and they all requested for them in the name of research. Today we want to look at now, one, how are these useful in the studies as our children are studying, but also how dangerous are they? What are some of the challenges that come with these digital tools as we are on the road to modernize our education? Today, it is a full house, and because society has made us believe that ladies first, I'll begin with a lady that is just next to me. That is none other than Mrs. Monica Agava from Mengo SS. Thank you so much for being part of this program today.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you, and kind of greet our viewers.
Good evening, our viewers. We are glad once again to be here, and we are glad that you're there with us, watching us, listening to us, and ready to share with us. God bless you.
Thank you so much. And now we have Mr. Kyeyune Andrew from Trust High School, Kabubu. It's a pleasure having you once again.
Oh yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and following, especially on the educational matters. May God bless you.
I think we can start with sharing now the experience of week 2. Week 1 ended last week, and now we have started week 2. Madam Monica, how is it at Mengo SS? How is the turn up?
Wow. Week 1 has been a whole lot of activities.
Okay.
Receiving students, receiving parents asking for vacancies. And those ones, of course, already have the vacancies. So it has been helter-skelter, flooding of different people. However, at Mengo, we have continued with the daily programs.
Okay.
Teaching and learning has been going on right from day 1.
Okay.
Yes.
Did all the students report at once as you opened last week on Monday?
Yes, most of them reported on Monday, and while others like Tuesday. But by Tuesday, at least the continuing classes all of them were already in school.
Okay.
Because it's the culture. They know that they have to come on the first day, they have to report.
Oh.
Yes.
Mr. Kyeyune,
Oh, yes.
how is it at Trust? Last time you told us that at least 70% of the students had arrived. Did the 30% come or they are still home?
Yes, we can now say we have moved it around 80%.
Okay.
Only that right now we are looking at 2 missing classes, senior 1 and senior 5. And we are trying to respect the government date. So Monday we shall be expecting the senior ones. And we are very hopeful they will show up, because many have really picked up the applications and the admissions. So we are still very hopeful they will show up. And we still send prayers to the parents, because it's not very easy. Parents are looking here and there to get the required fees and all the other requirements. So we still send prayers to all those who are still in this struggle, so that come Monday, all parents are in position to bring back their children.
We understand that soon there will be another pressure when UNEB eventually tells us when they release the senior 4 results of 2023. That is another pressure that we shall talk about later. But today we want to look at the digital tools that are available. And maybe if I can start with Madam Monica, we can talk about, create a comparison between our traditional education. I remember when we were in school, having a phone was really hard. And anyway, then exactly, it was impossible. And and even accessing the computer lab really wasn't a thing. Most of our reading was in the main library. And but we look at today where the schools have gone ahead to have internet in the computer lab, and it has been opened to all students, especially those that are in the lower secondary school curriculum. So if we are to look at the comparison, what can you say about the two generations? The generation that nurtured us, where ICT was not really a thing, and we were so analog, and then the generation that is now in the digital.
So between the digital and analog, which one do you prefer?
Of course, I would say
we have moved a very big mile from the analog to the digital.
Yes.
However, I think even us, we have really embraced it, and it is the best that there ever could be.
Okay.
Children are now 100% involved in whatever they are doing, whether it is in class, outside class, in the environment, outside school. They are now more involved than before. When the teacher would just come and say, open your books, page what, and then start lecturing you, and you're writing down.
And they give you notes.
Now it is no longer that.
Okay.
Students are more involved. Even the other time we were supposed to be involved, but the teacher had a say on everything.
The teacher has a deputy God in knowledge.
Now this time, even if you're the kind of human being that you're the goddess or the god of the world, it has to humble you down now to more being student-centered, child-centered, than being teacher-centered. So it's really nice, and it's good that all teachers are embracing it. Okay.
Mr. Kyeyune, as an administrator, what are some of the innovative digital tools that have been invented into the education system today that probably never existed during our analog era?
Well, since it became a government policy that we must now integrate ICT, so all schools are to do all it takes, without choice, by the way, to institute computer or ICT gadgets in schools. And what is commonly seen is the use of computers. Although to some schools, especially to even parents who can afford, we have also brought in the element of laptops. And incidentally, we have not had so much schools embracing open use of phones in schools. Although in some, especially international schools, some of these gadgets are allowed, with of course some regulations. But 80% of our schools, we just have fully facilitated computer laboratories. So the commonest used gadget we can say are the computers.
Okay.
Although someone will still reason you out that even watches, phones are all in the category of computers, but I'm now strictly looking at it in the sense of the desktops and maybe laptops. Yes.
Well, you actually said it that very many people are looking at you are looking at computers as a tool. I know of an institution that I want to mention here, where students come with their phones, they give them to administrators, and then on weekend, Friday evening or Saturday evening, they come, sign for these phones, keep them, take them back Sunday evening. Now, Madam Monica, we want now to start our discussion from there, because you said this is now the best, this is the best era, and of course, sometimes you're like, how I wish I delayed a bit, and I came when things have changed like this. But we look at now how effective that can be handled in a school setting without causing a lot of mess.
We should remember that these are youngsters. And being youngsters, they are growing rapidly, even more than their age. So it is very crucial that as the administration, as us who are a bit mature, we guide these learners in whichever tools that should be allowed in or out of school. For example, learners are allowed to bring their own laptops. That is, if they can manage to. But even them, how they are controlled by the administration is very important. So much as this is a very important venture, very interesting, it is also very critical that as an administration, we be very careful on how we allow these learners to use the gadgets. For example, in most schools, like he said, phones are not allowed. Why? Because it is a very personalized item. There is no way you can control its use if you allow these learners to handle them. So, as the administration in every school, they must sit and see which gadgets they can allow the learners to have that can be able to help them in their learning process, and still also follow them up, make sure that they are helping them to use them properly. That is why things like phones, I think we haven't gotten to that level where our learners can just use phones anyhow. They can use laptops, they can use tabs, or they can use the computer laboratory, the school lab, as he has suggested. But things like phones, which can be used on a personal level, for personal issues, these learners, it is still very hard for us to trust them 100% with things like mobile phones.
Well, Mr. Kyeyune,
yes.
I know we, like she said, that we are dealing with a generation that is that might be far ahead of the parents, and some of them are actually cunning, that they'll come and convince you as a parent that indeed we need to research. Research is like, I think research is the commonest word that is being used in every home. You realize that all children are requesting research, I have to research, I have to research, and parents have, some have given in their phones, but others who can afford have went ahead to buy new phones for these children. Now the question is, for now, as we discuss this, how can parents regulate these phones while their children are using them? Because while we talk about computer laboratories, as people will say, some schools don't have these facilities. And so, in order for my child to compete with others who are in well-facilitated institutions, at least I have to do something. That is why I can at least give them a phone and buy them data. I subscribe for this monthly bundle that will take them and make them do their research.
Yeah, it becomes a very tricky issue that when it comes to the question of phones, trust me, we can never be at par with the population out there. People perceive it with mixed feelings. And mind you, we have the so-called permissive parents, irrespective of the evil associated with phones, they'll never look at the other negative side. All they are after is, I can afford, and therefore my child can possess any type of phone. But my word has always been, and I'll never change my statement, there is nothing good about phones to children who are below 18 years. I know people out there who are not especially in the educational practice will definitely take different stand on this. But I mean, I just don't mind. But me who has seen children in schools and the dangers associated with phones, I wouldn't support any parent to give their children phones at a young stage. Maybe if they get to the age of 18 or in vacation as they are preparing for university, perhaps phones, especially smartphones, maybe I need to be more specific. If it's just a question of calling, any small gadget can perhaps be used for that cause. But when it comes to smartphones, the dangers are more than we can discuss here. So what I can advise parents, step number one.
Before you get to that step, you talked about the dangers and more. I think first highlight some of the dangers that we can have before we even get to the precautions.
One, now we are looking at it at home, away from school.
Yes, because it all starts from home.
Yeah,
even the phones are not for at school. It is parents who buy the phones and give them to children.
Yeah, we are having now a challenge that even phones are sneaked in schools. But then let's assume the whole source is from home.
Yes.
Although there are parents who still just get surprised to find children at home, in school with phones they are just not aware of. But let's now focus specifically onto the parent at home who feels it's okay for my child to have a phone. As you buy that phone, the following should be equally prepared for. One, the child is going to get in touch with very, very funny friends that you're not even aware of. Whatever they are discussing with friends, you'll never have any idea or any clue. Two, exposure to pornography. That is actually my biggest pain in this, that we all have phones, parents out there. Even when you just go to Facebook or try TikTok or any other source, you'll just see how the world is getting rotten. In fact, one writer, I was reading papers a week ago, someone was saying that a mere going to Facebook will perfectly reflect an ending world. It is just too dirty that we feel we should even call upon the government maybe to cause some regulation. But maybe before we get there, it is our duty as parents not to allow our children use these gadgets. So the other thing, it has affected even children's creativity.
Okay.
Even when it comes to just open all public speaking, you can now tell the products of WhatsApp, products of these phones, they cannot ably stand to address even the audience of 10. Why? They are used to communicating to one gadget. Even when it comes to just spelling out, children cannot spell because every other after a letter 2, 3, the options are already availed. If you're to text anything within nominal, you don't need to be very creative. The phone will avail you with that. Now, the other creativity, the other reasoning, and maybe even IQ, because at that level we are trying to build their IQ, it is all affected. Concentration. Children can no longer concentrate, even in school or even at home on any given activity. Let it even be housework. You tell the child to sweep, just ordinary sweeping. The child is sweeping with earphones, all right, or still texting, or even the parent is communicating to the child, but half the attention is onto the gadget. It has affected, you find it past midnight or even past 1. Very poor, we can say weird sleeping habits. Children sleep as late as 2, others 3, you still check and the person is online as late as 3. And parents are not bothered. What happens eventually? They cannot wake up very early in the morning. Throughout the day, even their socialization has been affected. You leave children at home, or even if they are to meet their cousins, but within a minute, everyone is on their gadgets. Everyone is on their gadgets. So where we are heading, it is terrible. It is terrible. They can no longer concentrate to do anything. That's why even housework, by the way, has been affected. Because from morning to evening, children are thinking of WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, or even so many other. They know a lot, by the way. But let us go back to the content they get on those phones. If there was a way we could look into that content, there is a problem. So the effects are many, but we are now looking at how best to regulate. The best regulation is there is no reason as to why a parent should buy a P7 child, senior 1, 2. Because when we look at students, many times we focus on secondary students, but there are parents who even buy these gadgets to a P3, P4. And
it's a gift. I'm appreciating them.
Yes, it's okay, you appreciate, but a very perfect gift to a wrong age. Now that is where parents go wrong. By the way, at one point,
Madam Monica here was at one time nailed down over that. Someone asked, how did you ever start telling us how to spend our money with our children?
Yes, but by the way, that's why I said it is bound to be perceived.
I wish that person can come back and tell us.
But if only those parents, if only those parents would exactly be in school to see what we see, all right? At one point, I think before we entered into COVID, some parents, those permissive parents, bought or even allowed their children to use cars in vacation. They were going to pick the results from one of the schools. I think it was in Deji, but it was very unfortunate they could not even reach. A very perfect gift to a wrong age. So parents out there, we are saying phones can be very good. We all need these phones, and by the way, we need the most advanced phones. But look at the age you're trusting with the phone. Look at what is on the phone. By the way, this, as we said, these kids are so intelligent, we can see, because they have been born into the ICT era. So there is much more they know about phones than we can even at times dig out. But the content, my concern is the content. To summarize all this, I can tell parents out there, when you buy your child a phone, you've done your child one thing. You've hired somebody to spoil your child. And by the way, you even pay this person by buying the child data. You have hired somebody to spoil your child. Children are spoiled. For you out there with only your 2-3 kids, we see thousands of children on a daily basis. But trust me, the world is getting rotten, largely facilitated by these gadgets we buy called phones.
Actually, a parent would say that at least my child has been tamed at home. At least they can spend their time on the phone without moving up and down and hanging up with bad groups and all that. But you talked about a very important point of killing the creativity of learners. I thought that as phones come in, or as these digital tools come in, they instead improve. There is something that we are fighting with, which is called artificial intelligence. You realize that a computer can literally do anything. You just command AI to do anything and they will do it. Madam Monica, you're teaching English and literature. Days back they used to tell us that literature wasn't for the weak-minded. But today with AI, everyone can do literature. Why? You just type in something, they'll give you all the answers. And how is this now? Which kind of generation are we breeding? Are we raising as we are embracing these digital tools?
Maybe if I can add briefly to what he was talking about the phone.
Yes.
Even you yourself, Adrian, you can innovate a program on your phone that you had not seen before. And you find you're getting so addicted to it, and you're not a child. That's
very true.
So what is called addiction can happen to everyone. Even you, an idle mind. If today I was in a holiday and I was very idle, I would also get addicted to something on a phone. Maybe I'm addicted to a certain program that I like watching a lot. How about this child who is not even having any problems of school fees, anything? She's just there.
They get everything. So the data is free.
Now the problem with these phones, even when you allow them to use them at school, they will no longer use them usefully as they should, but rather they use them in a negative way. They hide, they go on YouTube, they watch movies, they look for different, even when whatever they are inventing there is really not to the benefit of their education program. So they are no longer using them for education or for learning, but they are using them for discovering things that are not even supposed to build them. Instead, they are discovering things that put them down as children. So definitely, like he said, it is very wrong for a parent to give a phone that cannot have any control. Recently, I was talking to one of the students, and she told me, "Hey, Teacher Monica, my mother, she gave me a laptop, yes, but she put the digital control tool, and so for her, she knows that I am controlled, A, B, C, D, F, G, I can't watch, I watch it." That is what parents think, that they have put the control system, that so and so, this program, the child is not able to access. However, our children are more intelligent than we can ever imagine. So she told me she knows how to remove it, and when she's going home, she knows how to replace it.
I mean, let us take a short commercial break. When we return, this is now very serious. We thought we are safe with some of these controlling apps, but parents, you hear, no one is safe. We are coming back. The discussion continues on our social media platforms. You can follow our live chat on our YouTube, COU Family TV. We are streaming live on our website and our app. But also you can send in your comment or reaction on Facebook and Twitter, COU Family TV. We shall be right back shortly. Welcome back from the commercial break. It is a heated discussion, and I believe the parents out there, this is the time for us to wake up and realize that we are dealing with people who could be understanding things more than we do. But before we continue, just to remind you that on the 16th of February, that will be Friday this week, the Church of Uganda, together with the government of Uganda, shall be celebrating a hero, a martyr that is none other than the Archbishop Janan Luwum, who was murdered. The celebrations are going to be in Uchini Kitigumo district at the Janan Luwum site, and His Excellency the President of Uganda is expected to be the guest of honor. But I want to comfort you, you who will not be able to travel to Kitigumo. The Church of Uganda Family TV will bring you all the events live. So at the comfort, in the comfort of your living room, just tune in Church of Uganda Family TV. You will follow through the entire broadcast and the entire events. We were still talking about the funds, and there is something that Madame Monica here brought about a child who the mother thought was so wise to restrict some functions on a laptop, and instead the child plays a monkey game onto the mother. So the mother thinks, yeah, my tricks are working, yet in actual sense they are not. And we have very many parents who have put some of these apps, some of these regulatory apps even in phones, but now I come to realize that it is all a wastage of time, because unless we do the right thing.
If you're thinking that there is artificial intelligence where computers are doing everything, then remember that these kids are artificial intelligence themselves. So I come back to this.
Yes.
This is something we shall not avoid. It has come, and we need to embrace it. However, we need to make sure that we put in more efforts into supervising whatever gadgets are being used. We need to supervise them, supervise their use, control how they flow in and out with our learners. Otherwise, we are done for. Whether laptops, whether any other type of gadget, they all need a lot of supervision from us as teachers and also from the parents. Parents who think that when you get home, your child has a laptop, but you spend almost a month without even at least borrowing it and using it yourself as a way of following him up to know exactly what he does. These children, they are still young. We can still nurture them into the way, the kinds of people that we want. We should try our best to control them. We shall not stop them from using the gadget, but how do we supervise its use? How do we follow up and evaluate whether this child is doing something right? They will still hide, but it will not be as bad as it is when we are not following them up. Likewise, in schools, children can bring their laptops, but when they bring them as a school, what strategy do you have to make sure that you're following these children up? For example, do you have like maybe a room where you keep their gadgets? They sign for them as they bring them in, they sign for them as they take them out. When they take them out, where do they go? Is there a specific room where they do this research from? And when they are doing that research, is there a teacher in particular who is moving around, observing what they are doing, maybe helping them here and there? Let the learning process be like, make sure that we as teachers, we are also involved in their learning process as they are researching. If they are at home, now it goes back to the parent. How are you helping your child to use this gadget in the best way? Parents always say, we are very tired. I come home, I'm very tired, I'm from work. Do I really have time? My dear, these are the people you're working for. I've said this like the third time now. These are the people that we are suffering for. We are waking up for. Now, if the child dies today, some people can die when they are still alive. Like he lives when he's already a shell. Now, if there are no moral standards you're protecting in this child, then you would rather stay home and even leave work. What I'm saying is, as parents, as teachers, as the school authorities, anywhere, anyone concerned, we must make sure that we involve in the supervision of day-to-day use of these gadgets.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kyeyune, yes. You are an administrator, and now I know you said that you have adopted this because it is a must now. It is the way to go. You have to have these facilities. Now, I look at a situation where at one time we're here and some officer from NCDC said a teacher is only supposed to give 20% and the learner is supposed to look for 80%. As you integrate this technology into the learning environment, is there a mechanism that administrators can put in place to see that they can track even when children are sent out for research? Because I also realize that as we talk about research, some can even engage in group discussions, but in actual sense it's not a discussion. It is something that it is a plot to probably execute business A or B. Is there a mechanism that administrators can probably copy and put in place to eliminate some of these bad, some of these negative effects that come with the usage of digital tools?
Yes, there is a lot as school managers that we can do, and indeed there is a lot being done to ensure that we don't spread the effects of technology in the negative way. In any case, these gadgets we are discussing are good, we must agree, if used well. We are calling it a smartphone, but in reality, are we using it in a smart way? So, in a school setting, the first step, we don't allow these phones. As Madam said, they are personal. And whatever is done there may not easily be tracked. Because when you talk of a school that allows children to pick their phones on a Friday and then later return them on a Monday, whatever happens in the course of the weekend, whatever they do, you just cannot have control over it. But I'm now looking at a more centralized system in a school setting, in any normal school setting like the computer lab, where we have applications, and I'm sure most of the schools have this, that any computer teacher or technicians within the computer lab can easily monitor whatever each child is doing on a given piece at any given time. There is that tool. You just sit somewhere and you are able to see whatever each child is doing. And even when the child is jumping boundary into surfing onto something very weird or pornographic, you can easily be notified. And you block that or even quickly follow up such a child. So that is being done. 2, we allow laptops for those who can afford. But there is, or there should always be, a centralized way of managing this. Otherwise, when you still allow every child to move with their laptops in the dormitories, whatever other communications they will still have with those laptops, you may never have any control. But trust me, parents, one thing we must know, whereas we are saying these gadgets are good, and by the way, we have nothing to do, we have to learn how to live with these gadgets. But we are talking about a wrong age group that may not necessarily use these gadgets for academic cause, or even when they use them for pure academic cause, that will be 30%. The 70% is into their own investigations that are not in any way academic. That is one thing we must know. That is why, for us administrators and all school managers, we fight so much to regulate, one, the entry of these gadgets into schools, and even these children using these gadgets all the time. When it's time, the other perhaps mechanism can be what time should be designed for use of these gadgets. It cannot be that from morning to evening, but we can say perhaps after lunch, it's research time. And while they're in the lab, there is someone in there, not that children are left to be on their own, because the moment they are given that freedom, they will easily type in anything they want that excites them. And what is very interesting, after I've seen something very funny, I'll call a friend. Okay. That is how your innocent child is going to be pushed into something so funny, and the child will also pick interest. One thing parents must know, I always give them this small, that would be small talk or song, that what monkey sees is what that monkey does. So at that little stage, any funny thing seen on TikTok, any funny video seen on YouTube, apart from arousing them at a wrong age, they will also yearn to practice.
We call them challenges.
So that
they
is
take
a very,
challenges in
yes.
the videos.
So that is why we are saying, for us as school managers, our work is to regulate, to ensure that even when these gadgets are being used, they must be introduced to technology, but it should be done in a smart way. Let us have designed a time for use of the computer lab, because it definitely enhances learning. Then let us completely bury the use of these phones in schools. If they must have phones, yes, we agree, let it be done at home, because we may never control your home, but we assume as they get back home, you also step in as a parent. While at school, we are equally doing the role of parenting, but we are getting betrayed or, disappointed by parents that when these children get back home, you totally ignore and do what you please. By the end of the day, the effects will hit the parent more than the teachers. I repeat this. The effects of these phones will hit you, the parent, more than us, the teachers. Here we are busy fighting to at least allow these children grow to a certain stage before maybe they get more exposed to what we think is dirty. But parents may not see us in that line. But the effects, I think the parents will be more affected. So we have agreed on a designed computer lab, centralized, and I would love all school managers to have these computer labs in strategic positions. I have visited some schools with maybe storage buildings, and you find the very last floor, it's the computer lab where hardly do teachers or even administrators visit. And what happens there? Terrible. But we should have it in a place quickly monitored, or maybe with even cameras within. Then the time for the gadgets, and above all, these phones in schools, I still take a strong no. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kyeyune. Now, we've talked about the children, but let us also look at the teachers and the digital tools. Madam Monica, is there any way these digital tools are really empowering a teacher? Because days back, you'd realize that a teacher would really spend some time doing research, reading this book and that, to prepare their notes before they come to class. But is it still the same case? Because you realize a teacher no longer works with the other bunch of books or sheets of paper that they were working with. Someone comes to class with their phone. Is it that they type the notes on the phone, or you go with Google? Everything you're going to talk about is on Google. You just type in and then get the answer. Is it also empowering teachers in any way?
By the way, the people who used to fear the teaching profession, we invite you. Come on board. Teaching has become more interesting now. Okay. So it helps a lot on the teachers, because it has eased our work. Okay. It has eased our pressure. We are no longer on pressure. Okay. You do your schemes of work, you do your lesson plan, everything. You keep them on your phone. And then when you come to class, you can come to class with only your phone. If you have a supervisor, just share with him. He will also have, and he will know. Then also as a teacher, it makes learning more interesting, both for you and for your learners. They understand you better. For example, it is not only about the phone. Maybe you need to watch a video in class, and then you make sure that that video helps you to teach better. the learners. And they also, it helps them to discuss more, become more creative, become more innovative, improve their communication skills and all that. So we still say it is better because it has eased our work in class and outside class.
Mr. Kyeyune,
yes.
Now you'll still take up all the bullets of administrators. Much as Madam Monica is praising phones, and why is it that some administrators really don't allow teachers to go to class with phones?
Yes, use of a phone to a teacher is okay, but not in class. Very, very unprofessional. And I've seen young teachers, especially these fresh teachers from universities, who think it is even a style of showing off how you bought an expensive phone. While in class, you begin Googling. That is a sign that you did not prepare.
Okay.
Yes, it is okay. There is something I can easily search, or research about before I really go to class. Or if I carried a laptop, perhaps that has my notes, or as she said, there is a video and I maybe need to project, that is very okay. But a phone that is expected to ring, by the way, anytime, in any case, even just moving with the phone is a sign that this teacher is ready for any distractions during the course of the lesson. In any case, you're advised to have your phone in total silence or even leave it in the staff room. So that while e-learning is taking place, you are totally concentrating on the learners. Now, when you begin pulling out a personal phone, which could even be having funny personal videos in class, you begin reading notes. It creates because there is no way a teacher is being guided by a phone and then you later stop the children from carrying their phones. So we still feel professionally it may not paint the right picture. Although we are so much aware that for the sake of research, before you go into the lesson, you can use your phone, get information. For those who cannot afford laptops, but a laptop remains more ideal if to be used in class, as opposed to the phone. So we still regulate teachers from use of phones during the lesson time. So I want people to perceive this clearly, that using your phone for research is okay, but have something documented, show that you prepared to present, than showing learners that even when they ask you something you're not in the know, but you must first run to Mr. Google, pick out something. Be an authority. One thing we now want to empower students. All these people we Google or search on, at one time sat down and made their research, perhaps, and later posted, and we are feeding on them. Let now other people feed on your brain. Or if you have decided to use other sources, this should be done before the right time or before the lesson time. That is my take on that.
Still on that, I know someone, I'm going to get to Madam Monica. I know someone who writes their work, they write their pamphlets and keep them on their phone. So how about this person who feels it is not the right time for them to print out any of the documents? They still keep them on their phones, and they need to go with the phone probably as a point of reference.
Yes, I know, and people are bound to perceive it just like you're citing out that line. But let me make it more graphical. That even if you're the best cameraman around town and you've been hired for a given function, say someone's wedding, and you're very sure your phone costs 20 million and it has the best camera, can you really be trusted with a phone on someone's wedding? Or you'll only be seen as a cameraman when you really bring the other big gadget. So the same is seen with a class, in a classroom environment. Yes, this could be a teacher who perhaps writes, many do, and has a soft copy and keeps dictating notes, but it paints a funny picture. If you can have your notes on the laptop and maybe read to the learners, or even print out copies and share with the learners, that would send or portray you a more organized and professional teacher than bringing out your gadget. You read next paragraph, you're just reading another point. You may never appear an authority. One thing why some teachers have even been rejected in class, you don't own what you're speaking. Whatever I'm speaking, those are thoughts of of Kyeyune Andrew, and I don't care how other people may perceive it, but that is me and that is my brain. So equally in class, be an authority, own the content, own what you're speaking, than saying, okay, let's next paragraph. Now a student raises a question, and you must let me first ask Mr. Google. I mean, you appear very, very funny before the learners, and they may end up saying, after all, he gets it on the phone, I can also get it anywhere, and they even run out of your class.
Madam Monica, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, but I somehow wish to differ from him. But like you said, these are personal thoughts. Okay, so I wish to differ a little bit from him. And we are in the new curriculum. It's no longer a teacher-centered curriculum. It's now a learner-centered. And so we have teachers also, anyway, who are not professional. We have teachers who are not professional. If I take my phone to class, then maybe I'm taking it for the better reason. If it's for a bad reason, I should better leave it. If it is to go and ask Google, you should better
and as
leave
I
it.
engaging
Because
themselves, I can be on my WhatsApp.
The learners are supposed to see their teacher as their teacher. Now, if they see you asking Google all the time, then you're no longer their teacher. Google can rather be their teacher. So what am I saying? To me, it is good to go with your phone, as long as the information you have on your phone are to better the learning process. You're not supposed to have notes on the phone. Moreover, as a teacher, you don't need notes by the way. No longer need notes where you're dictating for learners. You make notes from class with your learners. You let your learners event and innovate. So it is true there are teachers, like he said, who behave that way. But that would be lack of professionalism. However, personally, if I'm going to class, I take my scheme of work and my lesson plan digital-wise. I have them there. I share with my supervisor, and when he comes, or I get a soft copy and move with it. But in an event where I do not have, a hard copy, then I have them on the soft copy. Having a laptop is better, but in case I don't have a laptop, a phone is also allowed. However, this is only using it professionally and for the reason why you have taken it to class. However, if you're checking for Mr. Google, I would encourage us as teachers to put it before the learners. Let them use dictionaries. Even if you've forgotten the meaning of a certain word, find a way of innovatively pushing it now to the learners to look for the word themselves. And they will find it more even quicker, in the quickest way, even better than you.
Well, Madam Monica, what are your parting shots? Mr. Kyeyune, I'm going to come to you.
There is something very small I wanted to highlight.
Let us conclude and then we get to you. What are your parting shots?
So I still insist, let us manage these gadgets, both teachers and the students. However, let us embrace them. And even teachers out there who are too traditional, we need also to come on board and learn how to use these gadgets very properly, because we shall need them. For example, in English language today, any topic that we have must be ICT integrated. You must watch a video. You must make sure that the learners either debate or do public speaking and all that. So you must make sure that the gadgets, you use them. If you don't know how to use them, please try and learn as quickly as possible.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kyeyune, as you wind up, what is your submission?
Yes, I wanted to first clear out something, and maybe to all the teachers and other managers out there. There is something I think we are killing the public and we are killing the learners when we so much, we agree learning is now more of child-centered as opposed to the other analogous style of teaching. But I think some teachers are now perceiving it wrongly, that children now should be the entire source of knowledge, and teachers are ceasing to be sources of information in any way. But teachers, this is where we have taken it at a wrong point. I'm looking at the senior ones that are just joining. Within just a week, someone goes to class. Introduction, go make research. Introduction, after all, 80% children should be the ones to research. But they know nothing. They have been forced to go to the lab to search what they don't know. Teachers, let us still avail information to the learners. Let us teach them. But above all, allow them room to also do their further investigations and search. So here, over the question of digital world and technology, we are embracing this. In any case, the world has gone digital, and we love every child to have these skills. But as Madam said, and I still insist, we need to be very strict on how children use these gadgets so that they only get the smart part of it, not the ugly side. We must watch out on the ugly, control the negative effects of these gadgets. So yes, we know there is a lot they can get good about the phones, but the age that has been exposed to technology is still a very fragile stage. Let us stand strongly and guide them, and that is how we shall really embrace and benefit from technology.
Thank you so much, you, our viewer, and thank you so much for watching. From the entire team, Didmas, Anaya, Jonan, and I, it's a good night. We meet again tomorrow as we discuss health.